On the line with me right now, Anna Murphy. We're going to talk about Cellar, Darling. Anna, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for having me.
It's a great pleasure. Now, you were in a musical family from a very young age. Tell us quickly about that.
Yeah, I basically grew up in the opera. Both my parents are opera singers. My stepdad is an opera director. So, yeah, we always had different kinds of music blasting out of each person's room. It was pretty crazy. I was just surrounded by music and art all the time. And I actually wanted to take the academic path because I was sick and tired of all this art. And I wanted to study philosophy. I gave up playing all of the instruments that were kind of, well, not forced upon me. That sounds very harsh, but it's kind of just evident that you're going to play something as a child. And so I decided to go to a gymnasium, and I had Latin as my main subject and all of that crazy stuff. And then I just left school when I was 16 to join a metal band. So the whole academic thing didn't really work out.
You mentioned music blasting from everyone's room. What sort of music was blasting from your room?
It depends when, like, at what point in my musical career. As a teenager, angry teenager, I listened to a lot of black metal. I had that phase for quite a long time, and I've always listened to heavy music, but I've also always loved classical music. So I wasn't, rebellious in the sense that I wouldn't listen to the same things as my parents. And I've always, apart from the black metal phase, I've always been very open for music. I've always listened to music and not genres. So it could really be anything from pop to metal to classical stuff, really just anything.
The band we're going to be talking about is Cellar, Darling. Now, you're in that with Merlin and Evo. Now, tell us about how you three came together.
Well, Cellar, Darling was born out of a split with our former band Helveti, which we were all part of for over 10 years. And the three of us always had kind of a special connection. We've been friends for a very long time. And we had the idea to do a side project of some sort at some point anyways. And that side project turned into the main project very unexpectedly and very fast. So that's how the band came about. It wasn't planned in any way, but yeah.
Did you all leave Helveti at the same time, or did one leave and the others followed? How did it come about?
Basically, to put it very bluntly, Merlin was kicked out of the band, and Evo and I left in unison with Merlin.
Right. Now, you mentioned this project came about very quickly. It certainly did seem that way from over here. How did the name come about?
As you maybe might know, I released a solo album in 2013, which was called Cellar, Darling. And that kind of caused a lot of confusion, understandably, because then we created a band with that name. And the thing was that it's always had a special ring for me, these two words combined. I don't know why. But the guys obviously agreed with me, so there has to be something there. We had a long list of band names, and just to add to it, it's incredibly hard to come up with a good band name these days because just, everything's taken. Slayer, taken. So we really didn't know what to do, honestly. And Cellar, Darling was there from the beginning on, and it just stuck with us until the end. And it developed into a special meaning. Cellar is something dark. Darling is something beautiful and light. And we just think that is what our music sounds like.
I certainly agree with you. Tell us about the first album, This Is the Sound, which came out June 2017. That must have come about pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, we're just very creative people. We have a lot of ideas, and I don't know, the album is very eclectic, even though it carries the very confident name, This Is the Sound. I think we're still kind of searching for our sound on there, but we were just happy that we came up with our own sound that is very unique. We didn't decide on a genre. We didn't decide that we didn't want to sound like Helveti. We just did our own thing, and it developed completely naturally, completely organically, in a very collaborative effort in writing songs. I think that that's also how our storytelling concept developed. At some point we had to ask ourselves, okay, what is the image of the band? What message are we sending the people? And I knew from the start that I didn't want to write too personal lyrics, from my perspective, kind of the singer-songwriter thing. I wanted it to be stories.
Well, the new album, The Spell, certainly takes you away. I've heard it. I like it. Very congratulations to you on that. Tell us about the concept behind that.
The concept of The Spell is actually based on a very old motive that has been around for very long. I don't know if it's going to ring a bell with you, but Death and the Maiden, It is a classical motive. It has been around since the Renaissance art times. It has been used in music, in poetry, really just about everything concerning art. And I wanted to take this motive and create my own story with it. This story being of a girl that falls in love with the personification of death. And we wrote the music according to this lyrical concept, and the track list was even there before we wrote the songs. So the approach on this album was a very different and a very new one for us.
Now, you mentioned art. I remember reading online about the involvement of the artist, Costin. I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name because I'll screw it up. Tell us about the role he played in all of this.
He played a huge role because we made the deliberate decision to not have the band in any of the artwork. We're not in the booklet, we're not in the videos, because we feel it would take the importance of the concept away. Because what we want to do with this story is we want to take the listener into a different world, and having us there would destroy it, because we don't want to bring you back to this world. And so it was all the more important that the visuals are just done well and done by a real artist that Costin just is. The great thing about working with him is that, he doesn't need a lot of guidelines. You can just send him the lyrics and the songs, and he's going to create something absolutely amazing, which he did. And it's as if he was in my head while I worked on the story. It's crazy.
Is that scary or not?
I think it's just amazing how, artists can connect in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's in store for Cellar Darling when this album comes out? Are you touring? Where are you touring? What's the deal?
Our first tour is going to be in the UK. It's starting in March. So that's going to be the first chance for people to witness The Spell live. And we just got a tour offer in now that we confirmed with Catatonia, which is in May, a few European shows, and that's really exciting for us.
That's going to be big, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's so great to tour with a band that we've been listening to for so long. So that's that. Then we have some European headline shows as well, some summer festivals, and about the rest, that's actually still a work in progress. We're still trying to, cover as many areas as possible. So I really hope that we will come back to Australia as well.
Let's hope so. Where are you basing yourselves? Based in Switzerland, or are we based somewhere else?
Yeah, Ivo and I are based in Switzerland, and Merlin, he doesn't really have a home. He's kind of a vagabond. Yeah, he just travels and, does the Airbnb thing, and yeah.
What a great life, eh?
Yeah.
Right, Anna from Cellar, darling, fantastic to talk to you today. Good luck with the new album, The Spell, which is out on March 22nd. As I mentioned, I'd heard it through the record company. I really like it. I really wish you the best of luck with it. And thanks for talking to me today.
Thank you so much.